Welcome to Hocus Pocus. My name is Nick and today we will discuss the audit of Hocus Pocus and why it's important to have an audit before go live. Additionally, I will touch upon several topics on how you can read an audit and how you could check if the products have conducted the audit properly. And remember, an audit is beneficial, but it does not provide a 100% guarantee. So let's start with the question, what is an audit and why is it important? So an audit within the blockchain industry is a verification process that assesses the security and functionality of a blockchain system, and they do this according to the industry standards, of course. During the audit, they check various aspects, such as the design of a smart contract, to ensure that they operate safe and are free from potential risk that could lead to potential attacks, of course. So that's why conducting an audit is crucial for improvement of the security of the code. And I think in this way you will also meet the highest standards. So there are of course multiple reasons to conduct an audit, which also depends on the code, but these are actually the main reasons. So some projects also performing an audit after the product went live, but I think that's more for a marketing boost. But good blockchain code is immutable, and I don't consider this as a very wise strategy. So a good order of steps will be conduct an audit before go live, then implement the suggestions and improvements, then you let the audit company check it again, and finally you can proceed with your launch, of course. So what mistakes do investors often make? They think that the audit is the holy grail. Of course, that's not true. Well, an audit makes the code safer. It does not guarantee protection against developers who might rug you. In such cases, you need to dive a little bit deeper into the subjects like liquidity, such as whether it's locked with a trusted team such as Team Finance. And when it's locked, it does not provide a 100% guarantee. So developers may still have, for example, admin keys and exploit them for personal gains. So it's important to note that not all admin keys are of course bad, but I think of protocols like DEXs. They need it for their routers, but I refer more to the keys that grant the ability so that they can freeze everything, block a wallet, accept their own, or set a tax to 100% for specific wallets. So always do your research properly. So what are the good questions to ask? Often I see in the chat questions about the audit. It's mainly only the question, have you done an audit? And once the answer is yes, the conversation stops immediately. Having an audit does not automatically mean that a project is secure. So many projects perform audits after they go live, and they can't implement the recommendations anymore because the code is already deployed. And I'm not saying that 100% score is always good, because the team may also choose not to address certain recommendations for valid reasons. But the best thing to do is start reading the audit. Start reading it yourself and check if there are findings. And check also if the findings are followed up. So if you don't understand these findings, ask the team about these findings. The team response will probably give you some more insight why they have chose to not follow it up. And if they can't answer in general the basic questions about their own findings in their own report, then you might have to consider by yourself as well if this is a good investment and are they even in control. So ask how they resolve specific findings and ask why they don't resolve specific findings and what their decisions are to not follow up the findings. So I think we covered enough about the audits in general. So let's take a look at the audit of Hocus Pocus and jump into the findings of Solidity Finance. So in the past, Hocus Pocus has worked with Solidity Finance and with Certik. But for our new code, we decided to once again collaborate with Solidity Finance, also known as sourcehat nowadays. They rebranding their name, and the reason we choose to work with them is due to the personal contact we had with them and our experience with Certik. Yeah, it was a bit messy. So it's also maybe because of the size of the company, and there are multiple engineers of several levels, of course, and also some of the solutions they provided caused an issue in our code. With sourcehat, our experience was way different, so we could have a daily back and forth discussion where they offer hints on our new implementation. So when new attacks occurs, they could immediately address this to us, and this was also giving me a sense of comfort, not the attacks of course, but the solutions. And it also demonstrates that sourcehat engineers are of the highest standards, and they can foresee certain things better than us, and that's a good thing, because you're also paying for the audit, so you expect some expertise back. And of course the goal of the audit is to improve and secure the code with an external expertise. So here you can see that our audit is still on private, but we will release it after go live, and we'll quickly go through the process now. So they classify findings into 4 categories. The first one is high, the second one is medium, the third one is low, and the fourth one is informational. You could all read them here, and after that you follow up the solutions, of course, and they help you again to update this in the audit as well. And after you implement it and they checked it, then you can go live. So let's begin on top of the audit. Finding number 1, it's a medium finding with the following description. The summon function recalculates the price per NFT using the gets amount VP less return value of the reference token, which can be manipulated through the use of a flash loan. So in this case, it's regarding the mint of a booster and the Pulsechain network, where we fetch the DAI price. So they see the following risk: malicious users can leverage a flash loan to manipulate the reference token and replenish reserves and subsequently mint NFT at a lower cost. Additionally, users can leverage a flash loan to manipulate the reserves and increase the price for the next subsequent buyer. So this is a good potential risk that you basically want to avoid. In practice, this is not a major concern for us because we are referring to the DAI price here. But imagine if you weren't using the DAI contract during the deployment, the situation would be quite different. However, for DAI, there's a huge amount needed. So yeah, let's look at the resolution. The team has implemented a custom weighted moving average price oracle. So what have we done? To keep it short, we integrated a swap, a time-weighted average price, where we fetch the price of DAI over multiple blocks. So that was the first one. Finding number 2. It's also a medium finding with the following description. The buy and burn function is susceptible to front-run attacks. So they say risk impact. Malicious users could or can perform a front-running attack by purchasing DAI tokens. That's our Hocus Pocus tokens, of course, prior the buy and burn transaction, intentionally causing the token price to increase. Once the buy and burn transaction takes place at the inflated price, the attacker can sell their tokens, profiting them from the artificially inflated value. We have thought about limiting the buy and burn function, of course, and this could become an issue in the near future. Setting it to, for example, 1 million PLS, it would result in a maximum award of 36,900 PLS, and we don't know in the future what the gas price will do of Pulsechain, of course. So we don't want the reward fall below the gas cost, and that's why we limited with 100 million PLS. And I'm glad that sourcehat considered this as resolved. It's also a very good finding, of course, with some potential risk. And of course with a solution from our side. So that was finding number 2. Finding number 3, it's not a medium, it's a low finding with the following description. Although the team intends to use a mint spells function to initially mint NFT to users, any user may call this function and mint NFTs. So this is a tricky one, because this topic is not about minting the 10% in our contract. It concerns the free mints that are dropped into the wallets of all NFT spell holders, and this will occur during the deployment over multiple blocks. So there are investors who have already performed a spell mint on Ethereum, and they will receive a new version directly in their wallet. So we leave this finding open because it's a potential risk, but it's a potential risk for the deployer of the contract and not for the investor. After the deployment, sourcehat will set this issue also on resolved. But why don't we address this? We choose not to solve this because one of the solutions would require an only owner modifier, and we have to adjust this in the code. But it's meaning only the deployer can modify it or can call the function. So we want to keep our code as decentralized as possible, since we don't want any keys or ownerships in our contract, of course. So what are the risks? During the deployment, someone could front us and minting the NFTs, but I think it's highly unlikely that this will happen. So it's good that Source has found the potential risk, of course, and we as team will act on it during the deployment. So we will verify the deployment, and then we check if all the correct wallets have received the mints, and once it's confirmed, then we will fill the pool. And if someone, for example, front run us, again, it's highly unlikely, but when it happens, we don't fill the pool and we deploy the contract again. So this shows that not all findings are immediately followed up, and that the risk that they find is not always involve the investors. It's important to make good decisions why to address a certain issue and why not. So this was the third one. The last one is an informational finding with the description in the get minimum period function. The first condition in the following require statement contains a tautology as it will always be true. So this one is easy. We just immediately follow up the chains. We write down the requirement as recommended for some gas savings on each call. So these were the findings. Furthermore, we have in the audit a functional contract overview. It includes the Ether contract, the Cauldron contract, Dime contract, that's our Hocus Pocus tokens, and the Booster contract. And next to this you can find the audit results categorized on potential risk and indicates whether they have passed or not. And you can also find an inheritance chart, which is personal. I find it always valuable. And so it shows the relationships between the various smart contracts. So it gives you more functional insight how it's all connected together. And there is also a function graph and overview with the functions, which we will probably cover in another video, because I think for now we've provided and covered enough information. So I think it's time to let it all a little bit sink in and consider, of course, the insights, and and you can use your new knowledge about audits when evaluating new projects where you're interested in. And remember, investing, it also means investing in yourself, in your knowledge. So for now, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions, feel free to ask them in our chat or leave a comment. If you want to help others and share knowledge, give the algorithm a boost with a like, share it with your friends. For now, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.